What the fuck, Disney? Like, seriously, what the fuck are you doing? This is ridiculous. It's so ridiculous now. I cannot believe you're actually going to do this. Like, are you that lazy? Have you no more inspiration for new ideas? Are you just scraping the bottom of the barrel? You! Disney! The pioneers for storytelling and filmmaking! You! Disney! Have you sunk this low? Hey guys, the Black Critic Guy, and this is a rant video. This is my unadulterated, unfiltered thoughts about something that I've been ignoring for years now, but now has finally gotten to the point where I can't take it anymore, and I have to express my feelings about this. So yesterday, while I was working, I read this news article saying somewhere that Tim Burton was tapped by Disney to direct a Dumbo live-action remake. Dumbo, directed by Tim Burton. The only thing that went in my mind at that very moment when I read that article was, why? Is there really such a huge demand to see a remake of Dumbo, even though we already have one that's already timeless as it is? Are they doing it for the money? Are they broke? Do they think it's gonna be like an easy cash grab of a film? Yeah, people will go see Dumbo, right? But you already established the fact that not a lot of people remember Dumbo, so how many of them are really going to see Dumbo? Are they doing it on a creative standpoint? Because, you know, it's been like 70 years since that movie came out. Maybe it's time to breathe new life into the film. Maybe we can take it a different direction. And you know what? When they first started this, back in, 2010 with the Alice in Wonderland remake, which wasn't really a remake but a sequel, I understood why they did it. I understood why they did Alice in Wonderland. It wasn't their most popular fairy tale, or not even fairy tale, but it wasn't one of their most popular animated films, even though I felt like it was an underrated Disney film that has a lot of creativity and amazing animation on it. But I understood why they did it, you know, why they did a remake of Alice in Wonderland, even though it's more or less a sequel. I understood why they did Maleficent. You know, they were telling the same story, but from a different character's perspective, you know, from another character's perspective. I understood that. I might not have liked it. I felt like it was a bastardization of what that story really was, and it was so untrue to their character, but I saw what they were trying to do. And then with this one, this new one coming up, Cinderella, which comes out this week, which kind of makes this whole talking point very topical, but with Cinderella coming out, I kind of understood why they were remaking it. I was not really for it. I was like, we have a Cinderella story already, and we have numerous Cinderella stories already. Do we really need another one? But I understood kinda why they were doing it. One, because it's Disney's most popular princess. When you think Disney princess, you automatically think Cinderella. Or, you know, at this point, I guess it's now maybe either Elsa or Anna. But back then, before Elsa and Anna, Cinderella was the go-to princess. She was the standard for what a Disney princess is. So I understood she is the most popular of the Disney princesses, so of course she will get a live-action remake. I understand too, kind of like, one of the main problems of the original Cinderella film is that the two leads were kind of bland. They didn't really have much personality, and you never really felt a connection between them. They kind of just, they looked at each other, they gave each other a glance, and then they fell in love immediately, and then happily ever after. I could understand them trying to rectify this problem by giving both Cinderella and the prince more personality, and the prince being played by Robb Stark. Perfect casting. I can't wait to see him. I'm excited, but I can see them giving them more personality and having them spend more time with each other to fix that problem. But again, it goes back to why, though. I mean, you have a profitable Cinderella film already. It was great for the time in the time that it came out, and it still remains a Disney classic. Why do you need to remake it? But what really killed me, what just made me go, okay, I don't get it, why, is when I heard they were doing a Beauty and the Beast remake. Beauty and the Beast is without a doubt one of their greatest Disney animated films. It's the only Disney animated film to ever be nominated for Best Picture. Why would you touch that? Leave it alone. It's already good as it is. We don't need a retelling, especially 20 years after the film came out. It's too goddamn soon. We don't need, it's like rebooting Spider-Man 5 years after the last Spider-Man. Too soon. We still remember the other one. It's the same thing with Beauty and the Beast. You can cast all the greatest actors you want in the film. The point is, it doesn't need to be made. It doesn't need to be remade. Why? Just why? And then now they're gonna remake Jungle Book. Now, we heard about this news for some time now. Oh, they're gonna redo Jungle Book. And I'm like, I didn't really think much about it. I was like, it's just Jungle Book, whatever. But I was really thinking about it recently now. After all of this news, I'm like, but why do they need to remake Jungle Book? Wasn't the original Jungle Book already a classic as it was? I mean, come on, the Bare Necessities, Shere Khan, the freaking Beatles, Vulture guys, Bagheera, Kaa, the elephants. We don't need it. Again, we don't need it. And now we have news of a Dumbo remake, live action hybrid. And I'm just like, I've had it. That's it. Disney, I'm completely fucking done with your remake bullshit. Like, completely. And I know a lot of you are gonna be like, well, Tony, come on, it's not that bad. And you're like, well, you don't get it, you know, they're doing it for the money, of course, Tony. It's so obvious that they're doing it for the money. Bullshit! Bullshit! I don't even think they're doing it for the money anymore, because honestly, do they really need the money? No, they don't. They have so many different intellectual properties. They can make bank doing whatever the fuck they want. But they resort to going back to the classics and retelling them for an audience that they don't need to do. And I'll explain why they don't need money. You're probably wondering, well, what do you mean they don't need money? Let's go by bit by bit. Disney is one of the most well-known companies, not only in America, but around the globe. They are a global enterprise. They make profits not only from their movies, but from merchandising, from their amusement parks, to so many different things. They own so many different things, and that leads to the next point. They own so many different things, but we're gonna focus mainly on films. Like, what companies they own in the films. First off, they own two of the biggest animation studios around the world. First one being the Disney Animation Studio itself, which has been the pioneer for animation for decades. In fact, for centuries now. It's almost been a century since the first Disney film. They have been pioneering step by step all the way through. And whenever a Disney film, like a Disney animated film comes out, do you go say, I don't really think I'm gonna watch it? No! You're gonna go watch it, cause why? It's Disney! Of course you're gonna watch it! You grew up with Disney, you love Disney, of course you're gonna see it! And they also bought Pixar back in 2006, which is one of the most, like, revered, beloved, and greatest animation studio to ever exist. Yeah, sure, they have a few missteps, but what animation studio doesn't have a few missteps? But it seems like they're rebounding with Inside Out, The Good Dinosaur, and that Day of the Dead, or Land of the Dead, or film that they're gonna do. I'm a little worried about Toy Story 4 and Finding Dory, unnecessary sequels in my opinion, but again, they are a company, and if they're struggling, they're gonna need to make some sequels to make some money. Them I can understand. Disney? No, I don't. They make so much bank, they don't need to sell out and do like remake after remake. Not only do they own two of the biggest animation studios, they freaking own Marvel! They own Marvel Studios! which is like the pinnacle of great superhero movies. They are unstoppable at this point. DC, get the fuck out of here. They don't stand a chance. Marvel has been sweeping the floor when it comes to superhero movies. The superhero genre is in their fucking pockets. And if it's in their pockets, that means it's in Disney's pocket, because they own them. They own that shit. But it gets even better. Because not only do they own two of the best animation companies, not only do they own freaking Marvel, which is like profitable at this point, just a great franchise builder, they own Star Wars. They own Star Wars. That's like, you have now completed your collection of all genres. They have now taken grab hold of the sci-fi genre with Star Wars. With their big fan base, Episode 7 coming out this year, that shit's going to make bank. It's gonna rain money at Disney. It'll rain money at Disney for 20 years. For so long, because it's gonna sell. It's going to make money, regardless of if it's good or bad. So again, I don't see this argument of them, oh, they need the money, they're doing it for the money. Why? They don't need the money. They're doing so well as it is now. I've never heard a news article say, Disney company in trouble financially. That's never gonna happen in our lifetime. Maybe when I'm like long gone, dead, and the real Walt Disney becomes a myth and no one really remembers who the guy really was, that's the point where I would say, yeah, Disney's struggling, but I'll be dead. I wouldn't even care anymore. And only that, Disney owns me, guys. Disney owns me. And I'll explain what I mean by that. Disney recently bought Maker Studio, which is one of the biggest partnership payers here on YouTube. Like, they control so many different channels and they pay so many different content creators. Disney bought Maker Studios. That makes money for YouTubers. So now Disney owns us. Anybody that's a part of Maker Studios. Not only that, okay, we already talked about the financial side of why it wouldn't make sense them doing Dumbo. Let's go to the creative side now. Why? There's already a Dumbo out there. And it's brilliant. It's great. I love it. Yeah, people might find it to be racist with the crows, but I never thought of it that way. It only became racist when people said it was racist. And I was like, oh, it really sucked. But I still remember the movie. I remember Dumbo. I remember the mouse that pals around with him, kind of like a Jiminy Cricket. I remember his mom. I remember the elephants that made fun of his ears and the mom hit them. I remember the crows. When I see an elephant fly. I remember that. I don't see, on a creative standpoint, why they have to resort to making this sequel. I mean, with so many brilliant minds, so many creative people working at Disney, working for Disney, you would think, with this endless supply of creativity, they can actually come together, sit around, and think of some new goddamn stories to tell to kids, or even the family. But no, they're like, well, we can make a new movie, but let's retell the Black Cauldron. It's a great idea. I mean, it was a terrible movie to begin with. You know what? No better. Let's do Oliver and Company and make them CG animals reacting to live action humans. Oh, green light, green light. That's a perfect idea. That's what they have now become. As a creative studio, that's what they become. They become rehashing freaking con artists, telling the same stories over and over again and lacking any sort of creativity. And whenever they do try something new, it always fails because they don't even put their best minds at it. They put like the third stringers in a basketball team. Like, go out there, win the game for us. They're not gonna win the game. They're the third stringers. Bring out your first stringers. Bring out the storytellers that actually know how to tell a coherent story. And then finally, from an audience perspective, I don't see why they want to make Dumbo. Dumbo isn't that relevant of a character nowadays. And you might make the argument, well, that's the reason why. Maybe making this remake, doing this live action, it will bring Dumbo back into the public consciousness. People will remember Dumbo like, oh, it's great. But you don't need to do that. Why not just re-release Dumbo, the animated film, either in theaters or release it like platinum DVD? And people are gonna be like, oh yeah, Dumbo, let me buy that and I'll show my family it. Oh, I haven't seen Dumbo in forever. You could still make money off of the old one. You don't have to make a new one. And picking Tim Burton, this kind of goes back to the creative side, I guess, but I think Tim Burton is a terrible choice to do Dumbo. Dumbo is not a dark, messed up, brooding story. It's a very hopeful, optimistic, and compassionate story about an elephant, a baby elephant with big ears who's trying to find his mom and is like recruited to the circus and stuff. And he's like, he learns how to fly and he makes friends. It's a uplifting story. It's a cheerful one. It's a fun one. Does Tim Burton seem like a guy that could direct something very cheerful and optimistic and positive? No! His style is dark. It's always been dark. The only time I ever seen him do something that was semi-cheerful was Big Fish. Like, that wasn't really his, it wasn't really like his style. It was kind of whimsical in a sense, but even that, he still had some of those dark elements. I don't see Tim Burton directing Dumbo. No, he's not a perfect fit. You need to find a better director that can do it. At the end of the day, guys, at the end of this rant, it's just really aggravating and disappointing that this has to happen again. This is the 6th time Alice in Wonderland, Maleficent, Sleeping Beauty, Cinderella, Jungle Book, Dumbo. It's only a matter of time. If they're gonna do these, it's only a matter of time when they're gonna do Bambi. It's only a matter of time until they do Sleeping Beauty, the real Sleeping Beauty. There's only a matter of time before they do Snow White. It's only a matter of time. And this is when it will be over for me. When they do The Little Mermaid. And when they say, hey, you know what would be a great idea? The Lion King as a CG live action hybrid. Green light! I will lose all faith in Disney at that point if they resort to telling The Lion King as a live action 3D hybrid. I'm done. I've lost hope. At that point I would have lost hope. All hope. Just and what hurts the most is I love Disney. Disney has been such an influential, integral part of my life, guys. If it wasn't for Disney, I wouldn't have many of the morals that I live by today. I wouldn't be as whimsical as I am today. I wouldn't have characters that I would remember to this very day today. They have given us so many treasures, so many gifts. They actually were pioneers at unique and refreshing storytelling. They were innovators. They pushed the boundaries. And to see what they have become now, it makes me wonder whether or not they were truly as innovative as I thought they were back then. It ruins the image, it ruins the legacy that once was the great Disney studio. What would Disney, like Walt Disney himself, if he was alive today, what would he say if he saw this? I wouldn't imagine he would say anything nice. He was a hard worker. He was a genius. He was smart. Say what you must about his personal life, but the guy was a very smart businessman. The guy knew how to sell. He knew how to sell you a property. He knew how to sell you an idea. And he knew how to produce and make sure that that idea came to fruition. The guy was a freaking innovator. And that's what Disney lacks. There is no innovator. There is no head guy that has just a spur of passion, or just, can lead people. That charisma that Disney had. That's what's lacking at Disney. All you have is a bunch of yes men saying, yeah, Dumbo remake, yeah, Cinderella remake, yeah, Lion King remake, yeah, soon, maybe. We'll look into that. And at this point, I'm going to make a solemn vow. I made this last night too, but I'm going to make a solemn vow right now here. After Cinderella, I refuse to see any reimaginings by Disney of any classic animated film that they made. If they announce that they are remaking any classic Disney animated film and making it into a live action hybrid, I will not see it. I make this solemn vow now. As much as I'm really curious about the Jungle Book, I'm not going to see it on principle alone. I don't care how good it is. After Cinderella, I will refuse to see any Disney remakes of classic animated films. And that's really all I gotta say. I'm disappointed. It's not just because of Dumbo. That's not the main reason. It's just that they continue to go down this path, and it's getting worse and worse at each and every turn. And I can't stand for it anymore. I cannot support them doing this. They are better than that, and I expect better from them. That's what you should expect too. With the power and the money and the people that they have, you should expect better stuff from Disney. Because we deserve it. If they want us to pay almost $12 an arm and a leg for a movie, they damn well better bring us something interesting. Don't rehash the same shit. Anyway, that ends this rant video. Let me know what you guys think about this whole Dumbo news. Do you think it's ridiculous and stupid, or do you like it? What did you think about my points? Did you agree with me? Do you feel like I'm just being overly dramatic? Please let me know. I would love to hear your thoughts. But anyway, I'm really just pissed. I'm tired. I have to see Cinderella. I'm mad. I'm just really mad. So until then, guys, if you would like to see more videos on this channel, be a part of the Black Critic crew, please hit that subscribe button below. Like this video if you really enjoyed it. I'm sorry about the yelling. And I'm Tony White II, the Black Critic Guy. Till then, peace, YouTube.